Hello everyone, Mr. Rolo here, back with another video, and today is a really big one. I've been working on this one for quite a while, and I just wanted to make it right because this is my first time actually doing a top 100 album video. Typically people do, top 50, top 25, whatever. But I'm doing 100 because I always do a top 100 list every single year, and this is the first time I'm actually making a video about it. Let's just see how this goes and get right into it.
Number 100, Artist, Sir, Album, Heavy.
So this is the first album I've really gotten into from Sir, but definitely interested in revisiting some of his older work in the future. Amazing all the way through with great features, especially from Isaiah and Anderson. The only downside of this album, for me at least, is No Evil, which is horrible to me. And it's funny because that song was the single from the album. This came out in 2024, so obviously it's only been in my top 100. This is the first time, obviously, because it wasn't out before. So
Number 99, Artist, Paul Simon, Album, Graceland.
This album grew on me immensely over the summer of 2024. I knew about it, heard some of the songs off of it, but it really started to hit hard this past summer. I remember driving around with my dad with this album on shuffle, and I specifically remember the amazing bass solo on the song You Can Call Me Al. It's like kind of near the end. Oh my god, he goes off. We both thought it was so cool. This is also the first year it's been on the top 100 list, simply because I had not really looked too deep into this album before that time.
Number 98, Artist, One Direction, Album, 4.
I grew up with One Direction, and say what you will about their earlier albums, but this was their peak. It still had all 5 members, unlike the final album, and they just seem more mature in this project. If you go in with an unbiased ear, I'm sure you'll agree that this is a great album. This only made my top 100 album on my 2022 list, where it got 97th, and now it's back.
Number 97, Artist, Bon Iver, Album, For Emma, Forever Ago.
An absolute masterclass of an album that shaped an entire genre of music. This has been one of my favorite for years, with classic songs like Skinny Love and Restacks. Amazing album for listening to before bed. This album has been on all 5 of my lists, ranging from 27th to 97th. Even though this year it is the lowest, I still adore this album.
Number 96, Artist, Kamari, Album, A Brief Nirvana.
An artist I only recently learned about. It shocked me just how good every single song on this project was. Amazingly smooth voice mixed with a smooth production makes for a very easy listen. Love the samples on here and the ode to Billy Joel's The Stranger with the album cover with the gloves. It's the only year it made it, but that's because I didn't know about it last year, so it's not really at fault.
Number 95, Artist, Black, Album, Since I Have a Lover.
First couple of listens to this one, I thought it was way weaker than his other albums, but definitely a step up from the 6-piece Hot EP. I was not a fan of that. However, as time went on, I found myself revisiting it way more often than I thought I would, and next thing you know, it snuck into my top 100 albums. Took a couple of years, but this is the first time it's cracked into my top 100 list. 2023 and 2024, it failed to do so.
Number 94, Artist, Big Sean, Album, Dark Sky Paradise.
Probably one of my first nostalgia picks. Incredibly consistent offering, but nostalgia definitely gave this one the boost for me because I have so many memories with it. I grew up with this album and remember listening to One Man Can Change the World in the morning before school and loved it. I would have it on while I was in the shower. It'd just be on in the background. One Man Can Change the World. And I'm like, oh man. This album only made my list prior to this in 2022, but it resurfaced because I listened again, and it is actually such a great album, and there's barely any skips for me.
Number 93, Artist, Metro Boomin, Album, Heroes and Villains.
Not many could put together an album quite like Metro can. Between the dark trap beats and storytelling throughout, this makes for an instant classic. Few could put together so many trap artists that I typically don't love and make a skipless album from it, but that's exactly what Metro did. The only downside of this album to me is Young Nudy's verse, which I'm not the biggest fan of. This is the second year in a row it made the list. The only year it didn't was 2023, but it just needed some time to marinate with me, I think.
Number 92, Artist, Labyrinth, Album, Imagination and the Misfit Kid.
This album quite literally feels like a movie. It transports me into another world. The first song on this album is genius for setting the mood for the entire thing. Like when that first track is playing, I'm at complete peace and it just puts me in such a good mood. And then the rest is history. It's consistent all the way through. It's the third time it made the list. It got 39th in 2022 and 75th in 2023.
Number 91, Artist, Travis Scott, Album, Rodeo.
Another album where a world is created, and Travis is one of the best rappers at doing this. This was leaps and bounds better than his earlier 2 mixtapes. One of the best rap debuts ever. T.I. narrating is reminiscent of his idol Cudi's Man on the Moon debut. This is the 4th year in a row this made my list. The only year it didn't make it was in 2020, but that year I only did a top 50. The following years are ranked in chronological order. 65th, 34th, 46th, 91st. So it is down, but I still love his album.
Number 90, artist, Party Next Door, album, Party Next Door.
Everyone always talks about Party Next Door 2, and they don't tend to talk about this one as much. This is also a classic to me. Sure, it sounds a little more like a mixtape, but his vocals just work so well over this style production. So many catchy songs to sing along with, and this is the third time it has made my list. The other two being 2022, where it got 55th, and 2023, where it got 91st.
Number 89, artist, Jazz Cartier, album, Hotel Paranoia.
Jazz is underrated, especially when it comes to creating a sinister world. This album shows broad range from club bangers to softer songs to dark, aggressive songs. Another album that is helped extremely by nostalgia, but I revisited and still love the listen. Side note, Save Me From Myself is hard as hell. That song slaps so hard, especially in a car. Oh my God. This is his fourth year in a row making my list, going 67 to 60 to 85th to 89th.
Number 88, artist, Joey Badass, album, All American Badass.
A deeply political and powerful album from Joey. If you don't feel anything when that little kid is crying on the outro to Temptation, or when he says F Trump, or during the speech during American Idol, then you should not be in the hip hop community. This is the first year this album made it, but maybe that's just because it's so relevant now that we have a piece of shit in office.
Number 87, artist, Jay-Z, album, Reasonable Doubt.
It's an absolute classic rap album. Jay-Z's mafioso braggadocious rapping over this style production creates such an incredible listen. The rapper must have known they had a problem on their hands with this one. Just look at the first four songs. I mean, Can't Knock the Hustle, Politics as Usual, Brooklyn's Finest, and Dead Presidents 2. It's one of the greatest 4-track runs ever. This album has made it every single year on all 5 of my lists, ranging from 41 to 87.
Number 86, artist, Child, album, Synthetic Soul.
Shorter project, but nonetheless consistent all the way through. Not even sure what you call this style of R&B. Maybe like maybe like psychedelic soul or something like that. The reverb creates such a trippy environment, and it just sounds so good. Then you have softer ballads like Pie Route, I don't know how to say this. Even the softer ones like this hit just as hard. I have memories of swimming in a pool in the morning at my friend's house in Boston while listening to this. It was like really early in the morning, and it wasn't very warm out, but I just love the water, so I was in there swimming laps to this. This EP has made it the last 3 years, 71st in 2023, 96th last year, and then 86th this time.
Number 85, artist, Zayn, album, Room Under the Stairs.
Released last year, Zayn from One Direction has finally done it. He's finally dropped an album that is as good as I knew he was capable of. Since his debut, he's dropped multiple lackluster projects, but this one right here is an absolute masterpiece. And just honestly, it's just great vibes all the way through. Good, really good album. His voice has definitely changed. It's a little more raspy now than it was, but it works. Obviously, this is the only time it's been on a list because it came out last year.
Number 84, artist, Kali Uchis, album, Red Moon in Venus.
Shout out to my fiance for this one. I used to be pretty close-minded when it came to listening to not English music, but this really changed once I started hearing this in Pauline's car, and I just kept hearing it, and I really love this album. This album opened doors for me, and I'm very grateful for it. Kelly has a heavenly inspired voice and swagger to her. Impossible to deny her unbelievable voice and talent. This album made it on my 2024 list as well, where it was placed at 48. It did not make it on my 2023 list, as I did not know it at that time.
Number 83, artist, The Beatles, album, Revolver.
At times, this was my favorite Beatles album. My obsession with this album seemingly came in waves, but regardless, I've always had a love for this classic. This felt like a turning point in their career. Like before, they were making more like boppy, like, I don't know, kind of typical 60s music. But then this really shifted things into more of a psychedelic and trippy. Drugs came in. This paved the way for so many artists in the 70s. And also marked the new trippy chapter of the Beatles that would give us classics like Sgt. Pepper's, Abbey Road, The White Album. And this is one of 34 albums that has made my list all 5 years, ranging from 34th to 83rd.
Number 82, artist, Drake, album, Nothing Was the Same.
Although I'm a huge Drake hater now, and I'm quite literally making a 5-hour video about why I don't like him, which should be coming hopefully relatively soon. I don't know when. But there's hardly a skip on this album, and it's just undeniable. It's just a great, great rap album. This is the longest break in between projects, and it clearly worked. He took 679 days in between Take Care and this. Not like the microwavable garbage that he's releasing now every freaking 5-6 months. This has been on my last 4 lists, only missing the mark in 2020, where it did not quite make my top 50. Still a really good album.
Number 81, artist, Lana Del Rey, album. Did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard?
Pretty much love this album since the day it dropped. I remember hearing the self-titled single and thinking Lana's back, because her last couple did not do it for me exactly. It's definitely her best work since Norman Rockwell, in my opinion. It's consistent but not boring, stayed innovative while keeping her sound, and this has been on my list 2 out of 2 times since its drop. Last year, it made 63rd, so it's a little lower this year, but still a great album.
Number 80, artist, Nick Drake, album, Pink Moon.
It's an absolute all-time classic. This album has almost a soft, folky feel. This album has almost a soft, folky feel. This album has almost a soft folk feel. This album has almost a soft folk feel to it, and I absolutely love his voice paired with the acoustic guitar. It just works wonders. Pretty much a perfect track list. It's the first time to make this list, but I've loved this album for years. I'm not really sure why I didn't put it on any of the others, but...
Number 79, artist, Rex Orange County, album, Pony.
This is Rex's prime to me. I love both of his Green albums, but this one was it for me. I absolutely love the song Pluto Projector, so that led me back to this album a bunch, and I'm thankful for it because this is one of my personal favorites now. I just got this one on vinyl as well, and it's great. I got the white vinyl. It actually came from Japan or some other country, so it's really cool. But this is also its first time on my list. Hindsight is 2020.
Number 78, artist, Rory, album, All We Need.
I grew up with Rory and lived with his first 2 albums for years. Like, they were very important albums to me. Rory has My Fiance and I's song, and I would definitely be playing Crystal Express at my wedding. And that should tell you how important this album is to me. Great track list all the way through. The only thing I'm not really a fan of is CPU, because I just can't stand RZA's verse. I'm not a RZA guy at all. Anytime he's on a song, I typically don't like it. But other than that, almost perfect with the memories to back it up. Somehow this is the first time it's made the list, which I cannot believe. It's absolutely insane that this has not made the list. I love this album.
Number 77, artist, Jay-Z, album, The Black Album.
I always think I don't like this album as much as everyone else, but every time I look at the track list, I prove myself wrong. I used to rap December 4th word for word growing up. I used to use lyric videos, and I used to rap along to that, and 99 Problems is a classic to me as well. I remember my uncle always loved that song too. It wasn't until years later when I ventured deeper into his album and found out how perfect it really was. The only song I don't care for really is My First Song. But if someone said this is his best album, I would not argue and I wouldn't be upset at that. It's completely fine. But yet again, this is the first time it's made my list, which is really weird.
Number 76, artist, Black, album, Free Black.
First thing that really caught my eye for this one was the album cover. One of my favorite album covers of all time. Which is funny because I specifically went out of my way to buy a special edition vinyl, which has a different cover for over $100. So because I just buy the limited edition special editions, and I should have just got the original because I love this album cover. I remember loving Problems, like as everyone did, but then I found other great songs like Loving You and X Callin'. Then I realized it was the whole album that was consistently great, and it's been on my list 3 times now. In 2022, it was at 63. 2024 is at 87. And this year it falls at 76.
Number 75, artist, Frank Ocean, album, Endless.
Now this had some heavy bias earlier in my other list because Frank was my favorite artist. But I went so far as to even put this in top 10, which is almost laughable today. But every year besides this year, it's been in the top 25. Now the reason this has changed is because I need to be completely honest with myself. There's multiple tracks in here to skip, and this was a pretty unofficial video album. However, this is still Frank, so don't get it twisted. I mean, it's still amazing. And there's easily a couple top 10 Frank songs in here, like Unity. I love Unity so much. So this has been on every list so far, ranging from 7 to 23 during my earlier list, but then this time it is way lower.
Number 74, artist, Kendrick Lamar, album, To Pimp a Butterfly.
I'm ready to piss some people off. Don't get me wrong, I hold this album in as high regard as almost everyone else in the hip-hop community, but time for some more honesty with myself. I simply do not go back to this masterpiece as much as I used to. And I mean, I still respect it and love it, but every time I listen to it, I'll listen to it all the way through because it's just such a masterpiece of an album. It's probably top 5 best rap albums of all time. But this list is personal favorites, not objective. This album has been on every list ranging from 21 to 36, but this year it sits at 74. But I still respect the crap out of Kendrick in this album. So
Number 73, artist, Ariana Grande, album, Sweetener.
I mean, talk about nostalgia. My old friend and I were obsessed with Ariana, and this was the first album that truly clicked for me. Her production and vocal performance is unmatched. Tracklist is actually perfect, and so many good times within this album. The only year it didn't make my top 100 list was last year, and I'm not really sure why. But in 2020, it was at 22. 2022, it got 28th. In 2023, it was at 88, and now it's back, and it's at 73.
Number 72, artist, Kendrick Lamar, album, GNX.
Now, another album that dropped late last year. Kendrick fans are probably screaming at me for putting this over to Pimp a Butterfly, and maybe it's recency bias, but I don't think so. I already think this is a classic album, and the replayability is unlike any other Kendrick album. You could just shuffle this album and it's almost guaranteed you'll get a banger within the first 2 to 3 tracks. The momentum from the year also just catapulted this one to the top. Kendrick has had the greatest rap year for any rapper in the history of hip hop. And I don't say that lightly. I know there's been some crazy years. He is by far the craziest. Obviously, it's the first time it's on the list. It came out in November.
Number 71, artist, Kanye West, album, Late Registration.
I try not to let who Kanye is today as a person affect my rankings because, I mean, he's clearly mentally ill. But just from a music perspective, this is a masterclass and some of the greatest hip-hop production to ever grace an album. Hard to make a 17-track album without a skip, and sadly, he did not quite do that, if we're being completely honest. There's one or two I tend to skip. Crack Music and My Way Home are not my favorites. If they weren't on here, it'd be perfect. But still a classic and has been on 3 out of 5 of my list. In 2020, it got 43rd. 2024, it got 38th. And this year, it's at 71.
Number 70, artist, Troye Sivan, album, In a Dream.
This shorter project is only 7 songs, but wow, every single one is amazing. So many times I've just thrown this album on at night while driving around, and it hits 10 times out of 10. One of the best track lists I've seen, and every song in here is at least an 8 out of 10. This album has made it on my list the last 3 years. The only year it didn't make it while it was out was in 2022. It took some time, but we're here now. In 2023, it got 93rd. 2024, it got 79th. And this year is its highest ranking yet.
Number 69, artist, Griselda, album, WWCD.
How is this the only Griselda project to ever come out? I'm glad it came out in 2019 because this wasn't all of them were hungry and in their prime. They all murder every single song, and even Westside Gunn rapped his ass off on most of these songs. And if not, I mean, he still fit in, and it worked. Not that he doesn't, but I mean, hey, the only complaint I have is obviously Kennedy, but let's just call that atrocity of a song a skit. Let's just completely get rid of that one. I mean, Kennedy is, oh my gosh. His album has made it on the past 3 lists. 2023, it got 81st. 2024, it got 72nd, and this year it got 69th, which is his highest ranking yet. It aged like fine wine, especially since I don't see any of them releasing an album together again, and they're all kind of trash now, in my opinion.
Number 68, artist, Rihanna, album, Anti.
Would anyone argue against this being her best album? It seems almost like a general consensus. The only memories I really had about this album was hearing Love in the Brain and being obsessed with it. It's such a good song. And I also heard Work and hated it. And Work left a sour taste in my mouth and was a bad representation of this album. So unfortunately, it took me years to try it again. But once I did, it really clicked, and Work's the only song I tend to skip. It has now been on my last 3 lists from 69th in 2023, 57th in 2024, and now 68th this year.
Number 67, artist, Jhené Aiko, album, Sold Out.
Not too much to say about this one. It's just amazing. This is one of my comfort albums that I live with. I fall asleep to this album almost on the daily. And this was our first project that really stood out to me and grabbed me. Album cover is one of the greatest album covers I've ever seen. I love trippy, like lucid dream type album covers. So good. This album has been on every single list ranging from 18th to 67th.
Number 66, artist, The Weeknd, album, Kiss Land.
I had so many memories of mowing my grandma's yard when I was a young teenager. I enjoyed a couple songs, but it wasn't until years later when I started to really get into The Weeknd. Then I became obsessed with this open world big sound from this album, which is a complete contrast to his earlier mixtapes. My favorite weekend is an aggressive weekend, like on the title track. This album has made it on every single list, ranging from 13th to 66th.
Number 65, artist, Pusha T, album, It's Almost Dry.
My most played rap album on my computer that I got in 2022. I looped the crap out of this album, and it boasts an impressive minimum plays of at least 60 per song on every single song. Probably one of my favorite verses of all time is Unscriptable. This album is 3 for 3 on my list. In 2023, it got 65th, 2024, 70th, and this year it sits at 65 again.
Number 64, artist, Beach House, album, Depression Cherry.
Absolutely brilliant album. Anyone who heard it knows there's just not much left to say, really. Just a masterclass, and Beach House paved the way for so many other artists within this subgenre. My only slight quarrel with this album as opposed to other Beach House albums is there's not like that standout track that really grabs me. It's all just amazing, but there's not really like those certain ones I usually go back to. I just tend to shuffle this album. The only year this album didn't make my list was in 2020, but during that time, I don't even think I really knew their music or listened to them. So in 2022, it was 82nd, 2023, 59, 2024, 99, and this year it's at 64.
Number 63, artist, The Beatles, album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
I always slept on this album until one day I woke up, fell out of bed, and dragged a comb across my head. Oh God. I can't believe I actually wrote that. I wrote that. I thought I was so smooth with that one. But no, seriously, I actually did sleep on this album for a while until I realized just like how good this album is. And it's such a generational album. It has to be one of the most important albums of all time. And there's just so many good songs in here. Like they literally have Lucy in the Sky, Getting Better, A Day in the Life, all in the same album. Like, oh my God, just golden. I'm not sure what I was thinking the other years, but this is only the second time it's made my list. The other being in 2023 where it landed at 64th.
Number 62, artist, Dominic Fike, album, Don't Forget About Me.
If I didn't get a new computer in 2022 that resets my plays, this most definitely would have been my most listened to album of all time. I was obsessed with this album after I graduated high school and would literally loop it every summer night while in the pool. Guaranteed this album would have at least over 150 plays, like per song. I even met Dominic Fike on his first tour ever and apologized to him because my friends are probably sick of his music. And maybe that's what happened to me in 2023, which is the only year it didn't make my list for some reason. Other than that, it's got 50th and then 70th. 2024, it got 82nd, and then this year it sits at 62.
Number 61, artist, Harry Styles, album, Harry Styles.
Another unbelievable debut album from former One Direction member Harry Styles. Harry's never my favorite. Mine was always Zayn, but Harry was clearly the backbone of the One Direction sound, and this album cemented that for me. I love the rock influence and how surprisingly hard this album went. That, mixed with the slower, nostalgia-sounding songs like Sign of the Times, make for an amazing album that he has not been able to replicate since. In my opinion, I liked his other albums, but this was the one for me. This album has made it on every single list, ranging from 29th to 61st.
Number 60, artist, Orion Sun, album, Getaway.
With only 6 tracks, this is probably one of the shortest projects to make my list, but one of my favorites. This is another story of being obsessed with a song, then that expands into the whole album, which is amazing. I love that. I love Dirty Dancer, and that's all I would listen to. I would literally just loop it until I sat down and heard the rest of the album and was like, all 6 of these songs are really, really great. Last year was the first time it made my list, where it barely squeaked on at 97th. It did not make it in 2023, probably because I only listened to Dirty Dancer at the time, and I didn't know the others.
Number 59, artist, Party Next Door, album, Party Next Door 2.
Now, Party Next Door 1 was on my list, and now this is the second one that is making my list as well. I think this is considered Party's first official debut album, and it sounds like it. It took everything I loved about his first mixtape and tweaked it to make production, quality, and vibes even better. This is the only OVO project to make it on every single list, ranging from 44 to 72nd.
Number 58, artist, Conway, The Machine, album, Lulu.
This honestly feels low. This is a staple in the Griselda discography and could easily be argued to be the best project between all 3 of them. The Alchemist is my favorite producer, and there's a reason. His sample flipping and creating that dark, grimy world is just unmatched, and it's on full display during this project. His album has made it on my list every single year except for 2020. In 2022, it was 96, 2023, 73, and 2024 is at 78. and this year it jumps up to the 58th slot.
Number 57, artist, Pusha T, album, Daytona.
The second Pusha T album to make my list. He delivers nothing but quality music. His solo music is so good. He practically has no filler in his entire career. That holds especially true for this EP. I'm not even kidding when I say there's not a weak song on here. Ironically, my least favorite part of this entire project is probably Kanye's feature, which is funny because he produced the entire thing. Still amazing, and it landed at 85th in 2022, 48th in 2023, 60th in 2024, and 57th on this year's list.
Number 56, artist, Freddie Gibbs, album, Alfredo.
Yet another Alchemist produced project paired with a gangster rapper that works amazingly. I genuinely find this one hard to put into words. I just think the chemistry between these two is just so good. It's just gold. Freddie raps his ass off, especially on songs like God is Perfect. Then the feature list is Rick Ross, Benny the Butcher, Tyler the Creator, and Conway the Machine, and they literally all kill it. This album has made it on 3 out of 4 possible times it could have. In 2023, 83rd, 2024, 50th, and this year, 56th.
Number 55, artist, Vince Staples, album, Dark Times.
If you watch my top 15 albums of 2024 video, you would have seen me give this the number 1 spot last year. An absolute classic. I was shocked at how much I love this album, given that his last couple I didn't really care for. I wasn't a fan of Vince Staples or Ramona Park Broke My Heart. I actually don't even have them. I deleted those albums. Wasn't a fan. But this album was vulnerable yet uplifting and just checks off every single box for me. I cannot praise the production enough either. There's such good samples or just great production all the way through. Also, I just wanted to point out how clear everything sound and the cool samples sprinkled throughout, just the cherry on top. And Shame on the Devil is one of the best songs ever made. Obviously, it's the first time it's been on the list. It was released last year.
Number 54, artist, Black, album, East Atlanta Love Letter.
This album is riddled with memories for me. It takes me to a completely different time in my life. The second I hear any song off of this, it's my first year of college, walking in between classes with headphones on, and I it just transports me there. It's crazy. This album will forever hold a special place in my heart, and this album has been on every single list, ranging from 42nd to 90th.
Number 53, artist, Tiana Taylor, album, KTSE.
Similar to Daytona, this is one of the projects that came out of the Kanye Wyoming sessions. Must have been a legendary time to be in that studio. This EP is incredible, with the song that made me fall in love with it being No Manners. No Manners may be the standout for me, but the rest are not too far off if we're being completely honest. The only part I hate about this album is her moaning on Hurry. But regardless, this album has now made it 3 years in a row. 2023, it got 84. 2024, it got 62. And this year, the highest ranking yet of 53.
Number 52, artist, Kendrick Lamar, album, Good Kid, Mad City.
Now, this album may actually be far too low. It's obviously another top 10 rap album of all time from an objective perspective. But this is my personal opinion. The album was an experience and changed hip-hop forever, and I will not take that away from him. Kendrick resurrected storytelling in rap with this one, and it was deemed an instant classic by almost everyone. However, I can't put it too high when Real is on here. Just being real, honestly, I can't stand that song. Regardless, it's still been on every single one of my lists, rightfully so, and it's ranged from 27th to 52nd.
Number 51, artist, Kanye West, album, The College Dropout.
Now, this album was hard to leave out of the top 50, and the only reason I did was because of New Workout Plan and Two Words. I'm just not a fan of either of those songs, and I kind of think they're skips. Sorry, not sorry. But on the flip side of that, I recognize how impactful this album really was. It is also insanely good and easily still a 10 out of 10. I remember being 13 years old and rapping We Don't Care and Jesus Walks word for word. So many good times with this album, and it's still such a legendary album. This is the third time this album has made my list. In 2022, it got 75th, 2023, 45th, and this year, 51.
Number 50, artist, Elena Castillo, album, Parallel Universe.
Elena Castillo just connects with my soul. I'm not sure what it is about every single one of her albums. They just grow on me with time. More listens, the more I love the album. She actually might be my most listened to artist due to her being on my sleep playlist so much. If you've never heard her, I would seriously suggest go listening. She's so trippy and her music is just great. It's ethereal, it's trippy, it's just pure heavenly. Just pure heavenly. This album came out in 2021. The first list was 2020. And then I didn't make one in 2021 for some reason, but this album has been on every year since 2022. In 2022, it got 88th. 2023, it got 63rd. And then 2024, it got 47th. And this year, it's at 50.
Number 49, artist, Odie, album, NFA.
I would never even think about putting a project with under 5 songs on a list like this unless it was actually unbelievable. Well, this next project by Odie is. It contains some of the greatest songs known to mankind. Odie is master music, and I genuinely can't believe how good this project is. I'm a sucker for that ethereal summer sound, and this is proof. His album is new, so this is the first time it made the list. But seriously, go listen to it, please. It's so good.
Number 48, artist, Beyonce, album, Lemonade.
I've always been a pretty big fan of Beyonce, but she never really had that one album for me until this. This is by far her most open and emotional album with the most consistent track list all the way through. Every feature fit perfectly and there's no filler whatsoever. The peak of this entire album is that painful, soulful high note she hits in the song Sandcastles. If you know, you know. This album really showcases her vocal ability and appeared on my list for the first time last year, where I really grew to appreciate this one. It got 51st last year, and this year slightly higher.
Number 47, artist, Travis Scott, album, Astroworld.
I'm sure this is on a lot of people's lists, but it really is a classic. I always think there's a skip, but not really. And I mean, just look at the first 4 songs. It's just a crazy run, from Stargazing to Carousel, Sicko Mode, R.I.P. Screw. Oh my god, it's so good. The weakest song to me is Yosemite, but that's only because I'm not the biggest fan of Gunna and Nav bores me. On the flip side, there's so many bangers on here, and I think Carousel is one of the greatest songs to speed to. Not that I ever do that. The only year this wasn't on my list was in 2020. Other than that, in 2022, it got 50th, 2023, 25th, 2024, 39th, and this year it landed at 47.
Number 46, artist, Jaden, album, Sire.
I'm a Jaden defender to the death of me. This is a classic album and don't let anyone tell you different. Sure, he's an insanely cringy and pretentious person, but that doesn't take away from his music. He is able to deliver on his craft in such a diverse way with many different sounds, and Blue is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. It's literally a 14-minute song where he's in a dream. Such a cool concept. There's also other long masterpieces on here like Lost Boy. I have countless memories with this album as well, so that probably helps. Similar to Astroworld, 2020 is the only year it did not make my list. In 2022, it got 52nd, then 54th, then 64th, and then this year, 46th.
Number 45, artist, Fleury, album, Super Tropicali.
Fleury is another artist that just connects with my soul. She has a beautiful voice and she did not disappoint with this album. Typically, she has a much more outer space ethereal sound, which I'm a sucker for, but in this album, she showed she could switch it up and make more, these are more probably summer bops and just great songs. There's more personality in this album and I absolutely love it. Initially, I thought songs like Let Them Eat Cake were corny. Now the song's just a bop. I love that song. This entire album is a great summer soundtrack. This album didn't make it last year, which is the only year it could have been, but it's aged like fine wine.
Number 44, artist, The Beatles, album, Abbey Road.
Another album that's probably a little too low, but this is my personal favorite Beatles album of all time. I don't think there are any bad songs on here. Maybe a couple weaker ones like Sun King, maybe. None are bad. Maybe 1 or 2 weaker ones, but none are bad at all. This is easily one of the most important albums to ever be released. Something else I really respect about this album is the fact that it doesn't have too many songs and not too many filler songs like White Album, honestly. I think White Album has some songs that could definitely be trimmed. This one, definitely more concise and right to the point. This is a 3rd appearance on my list. Not sure what I was thinking last year, but it didn't make it. I don't know what I was doing last year. My last year list was horrible. But in 2022, it was 24th. 2023, it was 33rd. And this year, it's 44th. Which is kind of weird. It keeps going down 11, but I'm not sure why.
Number 43, artist, Nas, album, Illmatic.
Objectively, I think this is the best rap album of all time. I don't think anything tops it. When people say B.I.G. is the greatest rapper to ever do it, I just say, in order for that to be true, Ready to Die would have to be the best rap album of all time. Because that's the only one that was released during his life, when he was actually alive. And that is not true. Illmatic is eons better, to me at least. It's just my opinion. This album was the perfect length and was crucial in developing late 90s sound rap. Not a single skip to be found, and it's incredible that he was only 20 when he released this album. The only year it didn't make my list was in 2020. In 2022, it got 40th, and then 31st, and then 2024, it got 42nd, and this year it's practically the same at 43rd.
Number 42, artist, Kendrick Lamar, album, Damn.
Incredibly important album in my lifetime, probably his first album I truly loved. This album is so amazing because it shows Kendrick's ability to have mainstream hits. It's unreal how, when he tries, hits are no problem at all. On this album, he had DNA, Element, Humble, Loyalty, and Love. But not only did he have the hits, he still managed to have a perfect balance of conscious, meaningful songs as well. This is undeniably a classic. This album is made it on every single list from 28th to 45th.
Number 41, artist, Kanye West, album, Yeezus.
I remember when this dropped and people hated on it. Now it's looked at as one of the most influential rap albums of this generation, and I completely agree. The sound was crucial in many other artists developing their sounds like Travis, especially Travis. One of the first albums I love by Kanye, and the track list is damn near perfect. The only songs I don't love are Send It Up and Bound To. But the others are all 8.5 out of 10, at least, at the minimum. But yeah, tons of memories with this one. Used to rap along to this when I was like 14. This album was also made it on every list, ranging from 20 to 48.
Number 40, artist, Earl Sweatshirt, album, I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside.
At one point, this is probably my favorite rap album. I remember all summer listening to this while at work, while weed whacking and mowing outside. This was Earl's peak, in my opinion. The desolate tone and vulnerability on here is unmatched in his discography. Perfect length album, not too long, amazing to play on a raining day or driving at night. This album is also made it on every single list, ranging from 21 to 40.
Number 39, artist, Pusha T, album, King Push, Darkest Before Dawn.
Now this is the third Pusha T album to make my list. Does that tell you something? I think it probably should. But when I think of a perfect aesthetic album, this is it. The album cover is beautiful. Tracklist just looks perfect. It's a good length. It just checks off all my boxes. But not only does it look like a proper studio album, this music is also amazing. Push has some of the best production, and he's just an absolute god at rapping. Can't tell you how many times I've listened to this album in my life. Like when I was at work, I would literally sit there working on pumps at my desk and just literally loop this album for the entire day. This album has been on every list except for 2020. In 2022, 53rd, 2023, 55th. Last year was 66th, and then this year it's at its peak at 39.
Number 38, artist, Tyler, The Creator, album, Scum Fuck, Flower Boy.
Everything leading up to this was mixtapey, and he was too immature for me to listen to. Plus, he used to say some, let's say, like, controversial things. I think that's a nice way of putting it. However, this album felt more mature and more like a piece of art. Tracklist is a good length, and all of the features were amazing. Plus, I'm super grateful for this album for putting me on to Rex Orange County. The only year it didn't make my list was 2020. But since 2020, it's placed 54th in 2022, 39th in 2023, 35th in 2024, and 38th this year.
Number 37, artist, Steve Lacy, album, Gemini Rights.
This album is amazing and super important in my life. I love the route that he took on this album. Like his first album, the EP was super catchy, but it kind of just felt like demos. His Apollo album was a bit too experimental for my taste, and this is like the perfect middle ground. It also had mainstream appeal while still being super unique. Anytime this comes on, I'm instantly back in Kansas on vacation driving around in a Porsche. Long story, don't ask. Actually, it's not that long a story. We just go to a different state every year, me and my fiance, and I picked this year, and it was memorable. Let's just say that. This album's made it on my list 3 out of 3 years that it was possible to. 2023, it got 42nd. Then in 2024, it got 56th. And now this year, it's back up to slot 37.
Number 36, artist, 070 Shake, album, You Can't Kill Me.
This felt like the first album where she got everything perfectly right. Glitter was not my favorite, and Modus Vivendi, is that how you say it? Modus Vivendi was really good. But this highlighted every positive aspect of her artistry. The album cover is one of my personal favorites. I think it's like literally a piece of art. It's so cool. It's so funny. It's on my wall right now, the vinyl. But don't want to move my camera. But yeah, every single song has such a different production. Everything's mixed perfectly. It's just an amazing offering from her. This album has made it 3 out of 3 times. Each time it has actually climbed up the list. So every time it's gotten better. From 44 to 40th, and now it's at 36.
Number 35, artist, Childish Gambino, album, Because the Internet.
Now this one. This was actually the most important album for me growing up. Like, I said that, I kind of mentioned that a couple times, but no, this is like actually the one. I was literally obsessed with this album for years. I would fall asleep to Flight of the Navigator on loop the entire night when sleeping over at my friends. If this list was in 2015 or 2016, I guarantee, without a question, it would have been number 1. However, as I've gotten older, this album is losing some of its magic, as there's a couple songs that are a little corny or, dare I say, childish. Regardless, there's still some amazing songs I constantly revisit, such as Pink Toes and Flight of the Navigator. However, nostalgia is definitely what catapults this to such a high place. This should have been on the list every single year, but I think in 2024, I literally just forgot it or accidentally deleted it in my notes or something, and it somehow didn't make it last year, but it definitely should have been on every single year. Regardless, this album will always be extremely special to me.
Number 34, artist, The Weeknd, album, Dawn FM.
One of my favorite albums of the 2020s. This 80s inspired album is just full of awesome bops and some truly amazing stadium anthems. I saw The Weeknd live at MetLife and saw him performing Less Than Zero, and it was actually one of the best performances and best moments of my life. Not only is there good bops in here, but an incredible story is being told throughout by Jim Carrey, which is such a random thing, but it's so cool. It's pretty much a perfect album. The only thing I'm not the biggest fan of, which is kind of weird because I like Tyler, but Tyler's part and Lil Wayne's part, I don't care for Lil Wayne that much, to be honest. Sorry. The album has made it 3 out of 3 years, going from 38th to 43rd, and then this year it's at 34th.
Number 33, artist, Vancouver Sleep Clinic, album, Onwards to Zion.
Now, Vancouver Sleep Clinic is a little less known, so I recommend going to listen to this if you haven't heard it. But this album just puts me at complete and utter peace, majestic and beautiful soundscape matched with great vocals from the Australian native. You can't possibly listen to Yosemite without feeling something, feeling just sad or just horrible and wanting to cry, right? Or is that just me? I'm not sure. There's no misses whatsoever on this album, and the album cover is just like the cherry on top. It's just so good. It just looks so good. This album has been on my list for the last 3 years, which is pretty much when I got into his music, honestly. In 2023, it placed 50th. In 2024, it placed 27th. And then this year, it boasts a healthy 33rd place.
Number 32, artist, Dominic Fike, album, What Could Possibly Go Wrong?
An absolute masterclass that has been growing on me with each passing year. Initially, I thought it was a letdown because I love Don't Forget About Me so much. To be honest, it's probably his best album ever. There's only a couple of songs in here I'm not the biggest fan of, but it all works regardless. The only thing that really pissed me off about this album was on Instagram, he posted a snippet of Why, and it just sounded so good, so summery. And then when he dropped it on here, he changed the drums on it, and not the biggest fan still to this day, and I still hold a little grudge over that, but still Why is a great song, and just everything on here is great. And for that reason, it made it on all 4 of possible lists that it could have been on. 2022, it got 81, 2023, 52, 2024, 75, and then this year it jumped all the way up to 32. But as you can see from the fluctuation of everything, it's just been a roller coaster, and now I love it.
Number 31, artist, Lana Del Rey, album, Norman fucking Rockwell.
An instant classic for me upon first listen. I immediately was obsessed with Mariner's Apartment Complex and Venice Bitch. But honestly, the more I listened, the better every single song got. There's not one skip on here, and Jack Antonoff killed the production as per usual. I love this album so much because it's very diverse in its song styles and creates a cool world to lose yourself in, with beautiful vocals throughout, which is expected. It's Lana. I mean, come on. This album has been on my last 3 lists now, pretty much at the exact same spot all 3 years. Went from 30th to 32nd to 31st. So all within 3 spots is kind of crazy.
Number 30, artist, Beach House, album, Bloom.
Now here might be another hot take. I think this is Beach House's best album ever. In 2023, I was heavy into competing at Super Smash Bros. Melee competitions, and I would always have Beach House comforting me through the nerves. put me at such peace, and I adore them for making such ethereal, heavenly music. I would also play this album throughout my entire workday as sort of a soundtrack to my life. I would literally just shuffle Tycho and Beach House the entire time. The only other year this made it was last year, where it landed at 67th. I wish I got into Beach House earlier because I love their music, and this is their best album in my opinion.
Number 29, artist, Travis Scott, album, Utopia.
And now here I'm going to say another definitive statement that is probably going to upset some people, but this is Travis Scott's best album. If you get rid of Fiend and Rob 49's feature, this is literally just perfect and unreal. I mean, there's 19 songs on here. You get rid of 2 of those, you still have 17. You would have 17 perfect songs, which is insane. I even came around to K-pop. That song's kind of a bop, honestly. But the production is so unique to Travis's style, and it works so well with the atmosphere he was going for. I remember listening to this album in the winter on repeat while at work doing stock. This one will go down as a classic for me, and I absolutely love it. One final side note, Parasail is amazing, and don't let anyone tell you it isn't. Parasail is a great song. Who would think to put Dave Chappelle and Young Lean on a song and then make it super, super chill and low-key? Like, I don't know. This album has been on 2 out of 2 of my list. Both years, it got ranking number 29, which is wild that it landed at the same spot.
Number 28, artist, Vic Mensa, album, Internet Tape.
So, you know how I said because the internet was the most important album to me? It's either between that or this. Especially during my teen years. It was just, so good. Easily one of the best mixtapes of all time. I can't tell you how many memories I've had with this. Oh my gosh. Just like, this is the soundtrack literally to my life for at least 2 or 3 years. Like, just consistently listen to it. It just gives off such fun and young vibes. Still a classic when I go back and revisit this one. This definitely would have been in my top 10 some years ago, but time changes all. Still will always appreciate how much I lived with this mixtape. This project has been on every single list so far, ranging from 11 to 31st. Almost always consistently in my top 30 albums.
Number 27, artist, Kendrick Lamar, album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
I may get some hate for this one as well, but this is Kendrick's best album ever. And also, I would like to put it out there. I mean, a lot of people recently kind of hopped on this bandwagon, and now they're like, oh my God, it's a classic now. And I'm kind of like, that seems a little fake to me. I mean, maybe they didn't like it initially and now they do, but I was there. I was an OG. I love this album from the moment it dropped, and I've been saying it's the best album. You can ask any of my friends. It's one of the most vulnerable and honest albums I've ever heard. So much respect to Kendrick for being brave enough to confess everything over music, which is a great healing album. I wasn't and am still not the biggest fan of having Kodak or Keem on here. Having Kodak on here is a little hypocritical and kind of weird, but besides that, this is one of the best bodies of work to come out this decade. This album is 3 for 3 when it came to my list. In 2023, it got 15th. 2024, it got 24th. And this year, it landed at 27.
Number 26, artist, Jay-Z, album, 444.
Speaking of vulnerable rap albums, here's another one. Respect to Jay-Z for at least making an album addressing the disgusting elephant in the room. But regardless, this is actually a perfect rap album. Absolutely amazing production in so many different styles of songs, yet maintaining elite grown men raps throughout. Also, just need to touch on the fact that he really said, "We in the crib feeding the kids liquid gold." Oh my God. Back it up. Like, literally no one could talk their shit like Jay-Z can. This album has made it every single year, ranging from 19 to 37.
Number 25, artist, A$AP Rocky, album, Long Live A$AP.
My favorite albums growing up, and I don't care what anyone says, this has aged incredibly well. This is an amazing debut album. Rocky was able to create such a diverse soundscape, and everything just fit perfectly somehow. Literally the only complaints I have is the song Pain. Not my favorite. You could get rid of that. That's a skip for me. It just wasn't needed, honestly. And then also Wild for the Night should have been on the deluxe, I think. It's slightly out of place. But other than that, this is an incredible album, especially when it comes to showcasing how he has mastered trippy songs. The Florence Welch feature on the deluxe is genius as well, and that was a great collab. This album has been on every single list except for 2020. In 2022, it got 57th, 2023, 41st, 2024, 19th, and then this year it landed at a respectable 25.
Number 24, artist, Kid Cudi, album, Man on the Moon 2, Legend of Mr. Rager.
This incredibly well-respected album has rightfully earned it. The dark atmosphere created is a complete contrast to the first one, but what I love most about this album is the vulnerability, but yet you could still feel the anger seeping out at the same time. It's I love it. It's a cool juxtaposition. Is that a juxtaposition? I don't know. Maybe. I know this album was created in a dark headspace, but sadly, a lot of my favorite albums are. So, I mean, I'm rooting for the artist, but at the same time, no, I'm just kidding. That's horrible, especially with Cudi, because he actually went through. Yeah, sorry, ignore that. This has been on my list every single year, ranging from 7th to 24th. So literally always in my top 25, which is a crazy feat.
Number 23, artist, The Weeknd, album, House of Balloons.
If I called this the greatest mixtape of all time, would you be upset at me? Well, then get ready to be pissed, because this is the greatest mixtape of all time. There, I said it. There's not one skip on here. I'll even take it further to say that every single song in here is at least an 8 out of 10. Just unreal, amazing. The fact that this was his first project at age 20 is mind-boggling. The mixtape is cold and claustrophobic, and no, I cannot elaborate on what I mean by that. It's just, I don't know, it just feels claustrophobic, this album. It's another album that has made my list every single year, ranging from 7 to 23, which is insane.
Number 22, artist, Kevin Abstract, album, American Boyfriend, a suburban love story.
Another crucial album in my life. I can't tell you how many nights I would drive around and play the song Yellow, like during the fall and stuff. Oh my God, it hits so hard. And to this day, it's one of the most important albums in my entire life. I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but this is undeniably a classic. This album just carries such a nostalgic sound to it. I remember thinking that even the first time I listened to it, I remember just thinking, oh my God, it's so nostalgic. And I didn't know it at the time. So I love that. The albums that create that feeling are great, and you got to run with those. And it's even better that I actually have nostalgia with this. So I have nostalgia with an album that already sounds nostalgic, and nostalgia is such a good quality for an album to have. This album has made my list every single year except for 2023, but I don't know what I was on during that year, but I must have just forgotten it, because there was no way I would have left it out. So I'm just going to run with it and say I forgot it. But this album has always ranged from 3 to 30, always in my top 30.
Number 21, artist, Joey Badass, album, 1999.
I remember when I called The Weeknd's House of Balloons the greatest mixtape ever, like 2 or 3 projects I just mentioned. Well, this is the only competition, and it's actually placed higher. But let me explain, because I think House of Balloons is objectively better, but I'm such a hip-hop lover, so for me, this one edges it out slightly. Also, finding a rap project that has 14 out of 15 great songs with amazing production is insanely rare. Like, you wouldn't realize how rare it is, actually. I also have so many memories falling in love with this mixtape after I met him in 2017, which is hilarious, because at the same time, when I went, I didn't even really know his music, to be honest. Side note, he was 17 when he released this mixtape, which is the most impressive thing on this entire list. The project has made it every single year, ranging from 11 to 21. Sadly, it never cracked that top 10. It's so close, but it never got there.
Number 20, artist, Child, album, Better Luck in the Next Life.
Now, this is more of an underground pick, and if you haven't heard Child before, it's a heavenly experience. I mentioned him earlier in like 75 or something. He had an EP, but this is his second project on here. I really, really enjoy Child's music. This is one of the best track lists I've ever seen. It just looks, I don't know, it's just such a full track list. I don't know if that makes sense, but literally, Hell and High Water, Surfing the Silver Linings, I Hope I Packed a Parachute, Mile End, Into the Deep End, like, I don't know, Hiding in Plain Sight. It's just it's poetic, like how he named these songs. It's great. There's not a skip to be found, and the features are all absolutely amazing, which is so cool because I didn't know any of them really. I mean, I knew Lucky Day, but other than that, he put me on to like all these artists that I never would have heard of before. This album has been on my list 2 out of 2 years possible. Last year it got 26th, and this year it jumped even higher to number 20.
Number 19, artist, Kevin Abstract, album, Arizona Baby.
Now, a couple of years ago, I never would have thought it would be even remotely possible that this would surpass American Boyfriend. But yet, here we are. American Boyfriend was always my favorite and super important and crucial in my life, and I thought Arizona Baby was weaker. I thought the follow-up would disappoint, and I did think that for the first year or two. I liked a couple songs like Georgia, which I would constantly play while driving around at night, but it took some years to appreciate this masterpiece of an album. There's simply no misses on here, and I love practically every single song. The album has aged better than any other album that I can even think of. It's been on my list every single year, ranging from 19 to 86. But you want to know what's really insane, a really crazy thing, is that it got 47th for 3 years in a row. 2020, 2022, and 2023. It landed at 47th, which is wild. What are the chances?
Number 18, artist, Daniel Caesar, album, Never Enough.
This is by far my favorite Daniel Caesar album. This is an incredible body of work. And what's really cool is that this is his most recent album. And it's his first like full length album. Like all his other ones, I think are like under 10 or 11 songs. So this is like his first full length at 15 tracks. For me, there's only one or two weaker songs I could do without, which is Pain is Inevitable and Vince Van Gogh. But then on the flip side of that, there's like some of the greatest songs I've ever heard that mankind has ever even heard. It has Ocho Rios, Let Me Go, Do You Like Me, and Always on it. Like, oh my God, just so many great songs. And then Homosexual, I didn't even mention, like such a good song. His album has made my list for 2 out of 2 years possible. Last year it got 25th and now it sits at 18.
Number 17, artist, Kid Cudi, album, Indie Cut.
If someone said this is the best Cudi album ever, I would not even be upset. I wouldn't even blink an eye. I don't care. My favorite Cudi album changes like the seasons. He really had something to prove to the world. He sounds angry and aggressive and I'm all here for it. This was after him and Kanye had a falling out for the first, but definitely not last time. Cudi clearly doesn't need Kanye because wow, he literally went 16 for 18 in tracks. For me, you can get rid of Girls and Bees, but other than that, it's a godly track list. I have so many memories walking around college campus listening to this album and just for the first time truly experiencing Kid Cudi. I revisit this album more than any other project from him. This album has been on every single list, never leaving my top 25. It has ranged from 16 to 24.
Number 16, artist, Jay-Z and Kanye West, album, Watch the Throne.
Now this is the most underrated rap album of all time. I never hear people talk about this being a top 20 rap album, but it is. Maybe even top 15. This album has everything you could ever ask for. Amazing production, top tier rapping from 2 of the greatest rappers, hit songs, like literally you name it. It checks off every box. It even has 2, you heard me, 2 Frank Ocean features, which is absolutely insane. Side note, and extremely hot take here, Made in America is better than No Church in the Wild. Also, Otis and Paris were some of the first rap songs I loved in the entire hip hop genre. I loved those songs back when I was a young teen. This album has been on every single one of my lists, ranging from 12 to 16 spots.
Number 15, artist, Lana Del Rey, album, Born to Die.
This is another album that grew on me immensely. Initially, I liked the first 2 songs and Summertime Sadness, but then every time I revisit it, it just got better and better. Lana literally pioneered the entire subgenre of Las Vegas crassness, and she's iconic as hell. This album put her on the map in such a huge way. There's 12 tracks on this album, literally all perfect. This album has been on every single one of my lists, never leaving my top 50. It has ranged from 15 to 49.
Number 14, artist, Fleury, album, Portals.
Now, I had a Fleury album, I think it was in the 40s or 50s, her Super Fragilistic, whatever it is called. This is her second album that has made my list, and this is one of the greatest albums I've ever experienced. And yes, I said experienced. One does not simply listen to Fleury. You experience it. You feel it in your bones. At least for me. She connects with me. I don't know. She speaks to my soul, and every time I hear her, it's like someone injected me with shrooms and shot me into the atmosphere, and I'm just floating around like a freaking asteroid or whatever the hell. But no, seriously, this just brings me to a whole nother world. I love this album. It saddens me so much, this couldn't even be higher. But this album has been on every list ranging from 13 to 24.
Number 13, artist, Jaden, album, Cool Tape, Volume 3.
This is a complete trip of an album, and this is the second Jaden album that has actually made my list. But again, anyone who says he's corny and can't overlook it, just listen to this album. I understand Sire, maybe you could still think he's corny, but this album, it's not really corny. There's just nothing but good vibes, and it just screams LA, this entire album. Hear me clearly. This is the greatest summer album of all time. Asterisks. Second. No spoilers, but probably second. But seriously, up there is one of the greatest summer albums of all time. Go drive around, listen to this on a sunny day, and tell me any differently. My fiance made me a special custom vinyl full of her songs, and Circa 2013 was the first song because it means that much to me. This album has been on 4 out of 4 possible lists, ranging from 8 to 74.
Number 12, artist, Isaiah Rashad, album, The Sun's Tirade.
Can't believe this album didn't make top 10. It hurts me because this has been such an important fixture in my life for almost a decade. I was first introduced to Isaiah by my friend who showed me For the Squaw, which to this day remains one of my favorite songs of all time. I remember driving around at night during my high school years, listening to it, and just loved the chill vibes it offered. It took me a couple of years before I truly appreciated this album as a whole, though. It's actually one of the greatest hip-hop albums to ever grace this earth. Also, the album cover is amazing and it's just perfect. It just literally sums up the album right there. This album has been on every single one on my list, ranging from 4 to 12, which is wild.
Number 11, artist, Kid Cudi, album, Satellite Flight, The Journey to Mother Moon.
I'm going to make some more people mad by saying this is objectively the best Cudi album of all time, and I will die on this hill. This was peak Cudi. After aggressive indica and before he went off the mental health deep end, this was a perfect combination of all elements of Cudi. This album is a whole experience. Put on some headphones and just get lost in it. Don't skip any songs, even the instrumentals. It all just adds to the art of it all. The only instrumental that kind of it goes on too long is Return of the Moon Man, where it's just like that, and like 5 minutes long. It's like, ugh, come on, cut it down a little bit. I still think it's a perfect album, but that part you could trim a little bit. I think there's like 4 instrumentals on here, but the rest is just all 8.5 out of 10s at least. Every single song. You have Going to the Ceremony, Satellite Flight, Balmain Jeans, Too Bad I Have to Destroy You Now, Internal Bleeding, and Trouble Boy. Like, oh my God, there's not a bad song on there. Yeah, Satellite Flight has been on every single list of mine, and it has ranged from slots 3 to 11. Almost always in my top 10.
Number 10, artist, Odie, album, Analog.
We've entered my top 10 albums of all time. And please keep in mind that any of these could be number 1 at any given time. And I seriously mean that. Like, if you catch me in the right mood, I guarantee all 10 of these at one point could make their way to my number 1. But just all time, this is number 10. Odie is a Nigerian-Canadian artist who is not known enough. He deserves way more credit. The album is quite literally perfect. When I say that, there's usually an asterisk, but not this time. Even with most albums above this, they have weaker songs, but not this one. I texted my friend the other day and told him I think that there's one artist alive who has nothing but great songs, and that would be Odie. Like, great songs. Only great and above. Odie makes soulful summer music with a sprinkle of Afrobeats, and it is magical. I used to listen to this album in my first studio apartment at night with the window above my head open, and it was just such a comfort album for me. Odie is one of the greatest artists of all time, and his only 2 projects have both made my top 50 easily. I went to a small venue to watch him perform a couple years ago, and it was heavenly. I also got the chance to meet him after and asked him who his dream collab would be with, and he told me Naomi Sharon. So shout out to him for putting me on because I have her music, and she's very good. The only year this did not make it was in 2020 because I don't think I knew who he was at the time.
Number 9, artist, Isaiah Rashad, album, Sylvia.
This is another album that just slowly surpassed the initial album that put me onto this album. That's it. That was hold on, which is The Sun's Tirade. Initially, that was the one, and I absolutely love that album, but then that put me onto this album, which now has surpassed it, which is such a cool feeling. I thought The Sun's Tirade would never be surpassed, but man, when I started getting into this album, just everything changed. The vulnerability and emotions throughout this album, along with these drugged out raps, is just pure fire. There's not a skip on this entire album, the weakest song being Menthol. But also, you gotta look, oh my gosh, Isaiah and SZA's chemistry is unmatched, and they're one of the best duos in all of music. They harmonize on multiple tracks and it works so well. There wasn't one specific memory with this album. I just slowly grew to love it more and more the more I listened to it and just driving around. This album has now been on my list 4 years in a row. 2021, it was not. But that's because at the same time, I was simply too infatuated with The Sun's Tirade to even pay attention to this one. Fun fact, this album was raised on my list with each sequential year. In 2022, it started at 29. Then 2023, it got 28th. Then 2024, it was placed at number 10. And then this year, it got number 9. So moving up even further.
Number 8, artist, A$AP Rocky, album, At Long Last A$AP.
This is A$AP's best album and one of the most perfect rap albums in history. The album is incredibly psychedelic and it falls short of nothing. The production is what elevates this one as high as it is. Like, the production on here is just so good. This is one of the rare albums that I grew up on and it hasn't overplayed at all. Like, Because the internet, Vic Mensa's internet tape, I overplayed that at some point. But this one, it just doesn't, maybe because there's like 18 songs, but this one does not get tiring to me. I love his album because there's so many different sounding songs on here that it keeps it fresh. This is 18 tracks and there's not one skip to me besides West Side Highway, honestly. I could do without that one. I don't really know what he was going for there. But then to make up for that, it has LSD, Electric Body, Jukebox Joints, Every Day, and just countless other songs on here that are amazing, including like the intro and everything. Just great. And this is aged like fine wine. No pun intended. This album has made my list every single year, ranging from 7th to 33rd.
Number 7, artist, Joey Badass, album, Before Da Money.
Another one of the greatest hip-hop albums of the modern era. Everyone always talks about 1999 like it's his magnum opus, and while I see where people are coming from with this one is my personal favorite. This album has amazing production while keeping with that 90s rap style. I love this one so much because it feels slightly more aggressive and conscious at the same time. A really cool combination. This is also where he started leaning into his Caribbean roots with songs like Belly of the Beast and Number 99, which I respect a lot. But literally the first 5-track run is one of the best hip-hop runs I've seen in my entire life. He raps his ass off the entire album with crazy bars, and even the title of this album is a double entendre, which is so cool. Also, Peace of Mind is a top 25 rap song of all time. Just so good. But the entire album is fantastic as a whole, and feels like the most complete project he's ever done, if that makes sense. This album was made in every single list, ranging from 4 to 17.
Number 6, artist, The Weeknd, album, After Hours.
This is The Weeknd's greatest album, which is an insanely hard feat. I think House of Balloons is his best mixtape, but this definitely surpasses it. I have so many memories of listening to this album over COVID, and I remember being so indulged in that world that he created during that time. With all the visuals and aesthetics and music videos, it was clear that he was inspired by Michael Jackson. I'm sure MJ would be proud because this album is goated with some of the greatest radio hits this generation has ever seen. This album managed to be on every single one of my lists, ranging from 5 to 37.
Number 5, artist, Kid Cudi, album, Man on the Moon, End of Day.
I mean, what can I say about this album? One of the most influential albums in hip-hop history. Without this album, there wouldn't be so many introspective rappers that we have now. Travis Scott quite literally named himself after Cudi and named him as his biggest inspiration coming up. It's hard to truly explain the impact of this album. This and 808s truly marked the end of the gangster rap era. Side note, Cudi helped Kanye make 808s and Heartbreak as well, with multiple songs. This album feels like a warm, comforting hug telling me it's going to be okay. I've heard countless people say that this album has saved their lives. I'm not going to go as far to say that, but what makes this album so important is just letting people know that they're not alone in how they're feeling, and even people like Cudi could feel this way. From start to finish, this is a perfect album. I first fell in love with this album in about 2018 while visiting my girlfriend in college during the fall. It was a magical time and it cemented this album as a part of my history. This album has made it every single year, only leaving the top 10 last year when it got 11th. But other than that, this album has ranged from 5 to 11.
Number 4, artist, Jhené Aiko, album, Trip.
This album is seriously one of the best experiences you can get without physically taking drugs. Even without taking shrooms, you're still bound to take a trip. One of the most soothing and psychedelic albums you will ever find. This is hands down one of my most listened to albums of all time. I would literally listen to this album every night of my life for about 20 months straight. Now I have a sleep playlist and most of these songs are still on there, but before I would literally just shuffle that album. Each song has an average of about 140 listens. I highly recommend this album to anyone who has never heard it. This album was made into my top 10 on every single list without fail. Not only does it boast that accomplishment, but it has gotten a higher ranking every single year. In 2020, it was at 9. Then it got 6th for 3 consecutive years in a row, and now here it lands at number 4.
Number 3, artist, Frank Ocean, album, Blonde.
Anyone who knows me saw this coming. If you cut me open to get my DNA, I guarantee this album would be in there somewhere. To quite literally grow up with an album is a surreal experience. Like when I started loving this, I was so young and I could barely even drive. I remember when this dropped and I wasn't the biggest Frank fan at the time, but my friend was, and I would always hear it around him. The first song I really got into was White Ferrari, but shamefully it took me probably at least a year before I recognized this entire album was something special. I remember the moment it clicked for me was on my old Nissan Altima while listening to Futura Free in the winter with my girlfriend. I was obsessed with that song and that led me to listening to the album a couple times and then the rest is history. No surprise at all, this album has made my list every single year. And get this, ranging from spots 1 to 3. which is by far the most impressive of any album.
Number 2 artist, Frank Ocean, album, Channel Orange.
Then would you look at my number 2? Very, very similar situation with this album as well. Sadly, I was late to the party and missed out for years, but this one appropriately clicked for me while I was on the beach. I definitely enjoyed this album before my love for Blonde sprouted. Pyramids was the one that really got my attention early on, but once I played this on the beach in like 2017, the rest is history, like I said with the other one. Probably a top 10 experience of my life is laying on the beach, towel over my head with earbuds while listening to this album. Like one time I specifically remember is during my 2018 New Jersey trip with my girlfriend, just walking around in the shallow water listening to Sierra Leone while the sun was blasting, and that was a moment. That was a moment for sure. Just an absolute masterpiece from Frank, just like Blonde is, but Channel Orange has managed to make it every single year with an even more impressive feat than Blonde. This album has never left my top 2 albums ever. Top 2. It's never gotten off 3. One or two every year. Shout out to Channel Orange, man.
Number 1 artist, Kanye West, album, My Beautiful, Dark, Twisted Fantasy.
And then we have my number 1 album of all time, My Beautiful, Dark, Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. And please keep in mind, we're just looking at this is the official studio album. I know on iTunes and other streaming services, it might be separated, like all of the lights interlude and like there's instrument. No, I put it all together and made just this masterpiece and just perfected the album. And this is how it's supposed to be listened to. Every single song is over 4 minutes. Yep, every song is over 4 minutes. Lost in the World's even, I think it's longer than, I think it's like 6-7 minutes, but I did get rid of that one ending part with, I think it's Malcolm X or Martin Luther. I forgot who was talking, but regardless, we're just looking at these 11 songs. This album cost $3 million to make, and Lord knows it paid off. Kanye literally flew everyone out to Hawaii in order to make this, which is so cool. While collaborating with legends such as Alicia Keys and even Elton John. This album has some classic hit songs like Power and Runaway, some of Kanye's best rap verses ever, like on Gorgeous and Monster, some of the best feature verses ever, such as Nicki on Monster, and Rick Ross on Devil in a New Dress. It has a legendary posse cut with the likes of legends Jay-Z, Pusha T, Sci-Hi, Swizz Beatz, and RZA all on the same song. Then you have the production throughout this entire album, which is quite literally perfect. This album combines all of the positive elements of all the previous Kanye albums and blends it together perfectly and disperses it over 11 full tracks. Let me elaborate on what I mean when I say he's taken positive elements from all of his past albums. So from The College Dropout, he knows exactly which artist to put on each track, and then he sprinkles some comic relief throughout. Late Registration, he takes that godly production quality and amazing sample flips. From Graduation, he has those grand, big arena songs. And from 808s and Heartbreaks, he took some introspective tracks like on Blame Game. And there's also a couple more simplistic production style, which is very similar to 808s and Heartbreak. This is prime Kanye, and this is a perfect album. This is my number 1 album for the 2nd year in a row. This album has been on every one of my lists, never leaving my top 10, and actually getting higher with each consecutive list. Maybe because as I get older, I realize just how rare it is to have such a high quality rap album with no skips whatsoever. Also, the cherry on top is just how amazingly crafted and unique the vinyl is. Now, what's so cool about this is you see this is obviously not the album cover. The album cover is like that man and the woman, but this is what I decided to put there. So in between you have this, you have this, you have this, which is the standard one, but it's censored. You have this, and then you have this. It opens up a third. It's a trifold. There's 3 vinyls in here. Has all the credits and everything, and then it has that on the other side. And ta-da! Anyway, that's the greatest album of all time, and that is my top 100 list. I've been recording for 2 hours, and I am so tired. But hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.
Suck my balls.